So as I begin to embark on this regenerative leadership journey in January, I'm thinking about what that word regeneration means. And I think it's always helpful to go to the opposite to really understand something. So for me, the opposite of regeneration is stressed out, burnt out, depleted, tired, drained, lacking, insufficient, status quo. It's kind of interesting, timely that I'm embarking on this journey after having navigated cancer for 2 years with Tim. And what was interesting about that journey is that I watched his body decay while simultaneously watching his spirit rise. And I think that's sort of the strange thing about us as human beings. I think we invest a ton of energy and resource in helping ourselves to rise, often at the depletion of the earth around us. It's not super well thought out at this point. It's just sort of something that I'm noticing as I'm talking about it, which is partly why I talk about these things, because I think it gives me a chance to think it through more fully, feel it out more deeply. When I began my journey in activism a long time ago, I really noticed early on how stressed out a lot of people were who were really passionate about caring for our planet. And it made sense to me because the concern was so great. But everyone seemed to be coming at it with different ideas about what was needed, how urgently it was needed. And that bred a lot of kind of conflict and tension and inefficiencies. I think for myself, I knew that was a really fast track to burnout in work that felt like was work that didn't have a real end in sight without massive shifts to how we show up on the planet. And so for me, that was a segue into full immersion in spiritual practice, to the extent where I really cut all ties with the outer world at the time and went headlong into some pretty deep spiritual training, working with teachers. I'd say there were some power issues within the organization that I was a part of, but the inner process that I went through was real. And it took me to some really, really deep places inside of myself where I understood from a very personal experience that regeneration was something that started inside of me. That peace was something tangible and something that I could bring forth into my being through contemplative practices, meditative practices, reflective practices, breathing, visualization, concentration, kind of holding myself attentive to that which wanted to come forth inside of me. That piece that came forth was the medicine that I needed to persist in a world that felt very much in conflict with a lot of the things that were my internal values and continue to be my values today. And I would say that a lot of those kind of inconsistencies of my values with what I see happening in our world, our dominant culture, are the things that continue to nudge me in the direction of action and activism for our planet. I'm also really well aware that there's a strong temptation to jump headlong into it and forget that any real work, any real benefit that we bring to this work starts from a place of wholeness and regeneration within ourselves. I feel like I've kind of had fits and starts of stepping into the activism arena, and some of those were sort of cut off at the knee as my husband got sick, and I realized I needed to put all of my attention there. And then I kind of persisted with those fits and starts of activity along the way, and maybe made a little bit of a difference here and there. But now, as I really look to step more fully into earth work and really deeply caring for our planet and helping others to do the same, I'm very aware that any real benefit that I bring has to start from a place of wholeness and regeneration within myself. So coming off of these past 2 years of walking this journey with Tim, I am finding a real need to just slow myself down, be present to my breath, be present to my nervous system, be present to my health, be present to the ways that I want to kind of jump in and get busy, because my mind quickly says, oh, you're not doing enough, you should be doing more, you should be doing this, you should be doing that. What are, just sort of the monkey mind. And I don't really like that word, monkey mind, but there, I said it. I think monkeys have a lot on us in terms of intelligence, so, but just sort of like, racing thoughts that have all kinds of agendas for me that aren't necessarily life-giving in the real sense. So as I embark on this journey, if you're here listening, I invite you to just contemplate that word regeneration and contemplate, like, what's the opposite of that for you, for yourself, for the earth around you? Where do you see evidence of the opposite of stress and depletion in yourself or in the world around you? All right. That's all. I'll leave you with that for today, and sending you a lot of peace.